The time is 12 o'clock. Here is the midday news. First, the top stories. Ogun government, former Governor Daniel disagree on mini power project. March salary delay likely as revenue sharing meeting deadlocked in Abuja. APC set up committee to consider Buhari's position on tenure elongation. 3 killed, 8 injured in multiple auto crash on Shagamu Ijebu Road. In foreign, China's space station crashed into Earth latest Friday after completing mission, and 20 million Indians scrambled for 100,000 railway jobs. Good afternoon, I am Ololade Sanyaolu bringing you the news in detail shortly. And now the news in detail. Former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, has disagreed with the state government over the conditions of the mini power plant left behind by his administration in 2011. A false claim by the Amosu administration that it was forced to discard the mini power plant at Okemoso in Abeokuta because it was obsolete. The state Works and Infrastructure Commissioner Olamilekon Adigbite, while appearing on Rock City FM program Daybreak Show, had said the Amosu administration could not retain the power plant because it was obsolete. The power plant, according to the commissioner, who was answering questions from a caller, is based on technology of the 1960s and it is costly to maintain. The former governor reacted later on Rock City FM WhatsApp group page Rock City 101.9 Parliament. This describes the statement as incorrect, saying the power plants were newly manufactured and installed before he left office in 2011. Daniel explains that one of the power plants was successfully commissioned before he left office in 2011 and still functioning well. Ogun State government has inaugurated a committee to reform the state public service. The 15-member committee is headed by Governor Ibikunle Amosu. Other members of the committee are the head of service Abayomi Shubande, as well as the Commissioner for Urban and Fiscal Planning Ronke Shukefun, the Budget and Planning Commissioner Aderonle Adeshino, and the Commissioner of Special Duties Leke Adewolu. Also in the committee are the Health Commissioner Babatunde Paye, top officials of the Development Agenda of Western Nigeria and Department of International Development, as well as some directors and permanent secretaries in the state civil service. Amosu, while inaugurating the committee at the governor's office Okemoso in Abeokuta, says it will work on aligning external development programs with that of the state government. The presidency has declared Friday, March 30 and Monday, April 2 as public holidays to mark the Good Friday and Easter Monday. Interior Minister and Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazao announced the work-free days on behalf of the federal government in a statement issued by Mrs. Juliet Chiofo, Director overseeing the Office of the Permanent Secretary. Dambazao enjoins Christian faithfuls and Nigerians in general to employ their spiritual ethos of Easter, which include love, peace and sacrifice in contributing to the unity and peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. The payment of March salaries to civil servants nationwide may be delayed as the 3 tiers of government failed on Tuesday to share revenue from the Federation account for the month of March. The monthly meeting of the Federation Account Allocation Committee ended abruptly over the rejection of revenue figure presented by Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) for sharing. Accordingly, finance commissioners and accountant generals of the 36 states left the meeting empty-handed. Following the deadlock, Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun says the meeting will continue today to resolve the dispute over the low revenue figure. The Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, addressing newsmen after the meeting ended abruptly, says the disputed revenue figure presented by NNPC to the meeting must be reconciled before they can meet again to share the revenue. Chairman of the Federation Account Allocation Committee Commissioners Mahmoud Yunusa says the less than 100 billion naira revenue figure presented by NNPC was far lower than 111.8 billion naira in January 2018. Last December, the meeting for sharing revenue from the Federation account was also deadlocked after NNPC claimed it deduced 774 million naira daily from the revenue to subside the imported petrol. APC has set up a technical committee to consider President Muhammadu Buhari's objection to the elongation of tenure of the party's National Working Committee. Buhari, at the meeting of the National Executive Council on Tuesday, has called for an election to elect new leaders to run the party, while asking members of the APC National Working Committee to quit. The committee, according to APC spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi, will advise APC Council on the way forward on Buhari's position, considering the litigation against the tenure elongation. Abdullahi, addressing newsmen after the council's meeting in Abuja, explains that the committee is expected to submit its report on or before Friday. The council, according to him, also set up a committee made up of the Presidency, National Assembly and APC to look at the report of the El-Rufai Committee on True Federalism. It says the recommendation of the committee will enable President Muhammadu Buhari to send a bill on True Federalism to the National Assembly for consideration. Department of Security Service (DSS) has arrested a suspected top leader of a major kidnap gang in a joint operation with military of Obajana in Kogi State. The suspect, Lawal Mohammed, according to DSS spokesman Tony Okuyo, in a statement, is the chief financier and armorer of the gang, whose operation covers several states, including Kogi, Edo, Rivers, Delta, Kebbi, Zamfara, Kaduna, and Abuja. Okuyo says he was arrested along with two other members of the gang, Mohammed Tukur and Abubakar Ibrahim. Also arrested in Ughelli, Delta State, is another top member of the gang, Ali Abubakar. DSS spokesman explains they were arrested while preparing for a major kidnap operation at Obajana. 3 people have been killed, 8 others injured in a fresh auto crash on Shagamu-Ijebu-Ode Expressway in Ogun State. The multiple accident involved a passenger bus marked AYB836XA on a fleet of Good Motors Transport Company and a Mercedes marked truck marked SAP844XA at Udobulu section of the expressway. Spokesman of the Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps Trace, Commander Babatunde Akinbi, says the bus, while attempting to overtake 2 trucks, was sandwiched between them. The bus, according to Akibi, then had a slight collision with one of the trucks, swerved and collided with other truck. You are still listening to the Midday News on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we'll bring you foreign, business and sport news. Please do stay with us. And now to the foreign scene. Debris from a defunct Chinese space station could crash to Earth as early as Friday, according to scientists monitoring it. The Tiangong-1 was part of Chinese ambitious space program and a prototype for a manned station in 2022. It was put into orbit in 2011 and 5 years later completed its mission, after which it was expected to fall back to Earth. Time and place of impact are hard to predict as it is no longer controlled. The latest estimate for re-entry is between March 30 and April 2. Qatar has rejected the acquisition by the United Arab Emirates (UAE) of its fighter jet intercepting 2 UAE's civilian aircraft. Qatar's Civil Aviation Authority dismissed in a statement the UAE's claim as an attempt to cover the multiple breaches of Qatari airspace by some Gulf states. It accused Bahrain of continuing to violate the Qatari airspace in spite of notifications by Qatar. On Monday, the UAE Civil Aviation Authority issued a statement accusing 2 Qatari fighter jets of dangerously approaching 2 UAE civilian aircraft while they were in Bahraini airspace. India's state-run railway says it has received more than 20 million applicants for about 100,000 jobs. Railway Ministry officials say the number of applicants is expected to rise further as the deadline for applications will end on Saturday. More than 5 million people had applied online for the position of technicians and locomotive drivers alone. In 2015, authorities in India's most populous state, Uttar Pradesh, received 2.3 million applications for 368 low-level government jobs. In 2010, 1 man was killed and 11 others were injured in the crash when more than 10,000 candidates gathered to join the police in Mumbai. In the year 1999, the government in West Bengal state was deluged with responses when they advertised 281 jobs and received nearly 1 million applications. Now to business. The presidency says it has recovered loot worth 143.9 billion naira from corrupt federal government officials through the whistleblower policy. Breakdown of the recovered fund, according to the presidential initiative on continuous audit, include $378 million to £27,000 sterling and 7.8 billion naira. The presidential team says it received 8,373 tips since the policy was introduced in 2016. The unit explains that it saved 208 billion naira from the payroll audit of the federal ministries and departments. These include 97.84 billion naira in 2016 and 110.4 billion naira last year from salaries paid to former diplomats, reduction in personnel costs of MDAs, non-regular allowances of military, paramilitary, and health institutions. And finally, in the midday news, sport news. Serbia overcame Nigeria 2-0 in an international friendly match in London, England on Tuesday night. The Eagles dominated the match from the start, and Francis Uzoko was the busier of the two goalkeepers. Nigeria did threaten the 13th minute, but Victor Moses' shot was well saved by Serbia keeper Vladimir Stovoki. The Joe Obi was then forced to prevent Mitrovic's goal bounded forward and the ball deflected onto the top of the crossbar with Uzo beaten in the 16th minute. The score was 0-0 at the interval following our first half, which was dominated by Serbia. Serbia did break the deadlock in the 67th minute when Alexander scored a left-footed shot to make it 1-0 to Serbia. Serbia doubled their lead in the 81st minute when Alexander set up the Mistrovic, who made it 2-0 to Serbia, grabbing his brace into the process. That was the media news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun government, former Governor Daniel disagreed on mini power project. March salary delay likely as revenue sharing meeting deadlocked in Abuja. APC set up committee to consider Buhari's position and tenure elongation. 3 killed, 8 injured in multiple auto crash on Shagamu Ijebu Road. On foreign scene, reported China's space station crashing to Earth latest Friday after completing mission, and 20 million Indians scrambled for 100,000 railway jobs. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you for listening. I am Ololade Sanyaolu. Good afternoon.